Welcome to another edition of Plugin Police. Today we're going to have a look at some compressors, vocal compressors. Well, they are just universal compressors, but we're going to use them for vocals, and we're going to see the different effects that different compressors have on vocals. I'm using here some vocals from Cymatic. They're already extremely processed already, so that's a little bit of a disadvantage. But still, we can still get an idea of what individual compressors can do on vocals. I want to after this also go still into working with compressors on drum and percussion, which is very different many times than vocals. And also go a little bit farther into sidechaining, both for compressors and for dynamic equalizers, which I find is very interesting and many times not so good understood subject about how sidechaining exactly works and when you should use it and when you shouldn't use it. Okay, we're going to go first here to a real classic compressor. It's the Universal Audio. It's the LA2A. This is a leveling amplifier, but it's a compressor. Has a compressor and a limited function on it. The gain, peak reduction, gain reduction, output plus 10, output plus 4 dB. I think they talk about over there, and just an on and off button. And you have here some, how do you call that, presets that you can go through. So these are just the basic presets that you get with this this compressor included. This is a paid compressor by Universal Audio, the Teletronics LA2A. LA stands for leveling amplifier. But it's a compressor. This is a paid plugin, about 110 US dollars. But if you want to play along at home, you can download the LA by Analog Obsessions, or LA ja, that's so Lima Alpha Yankee Alpha. That is the LA Yankee Alpha. Ja, by Analog Obsessions. You can play along with it if you want. He also has a fat compressor. It's called Fetish. So Analog Obsessions has a bunch of compressors that you can just download for free. They are substitutions for the first couple of compressors I'm going to use. Are all paid compressors, and then there's here one or two free compressors also, one by Tokyo Dawn Labs, and I think still another one. Warmpy is also a free tube compressor. But we're going to start here with the Teletronics LA2A, very good on vocals and guitars and stuff. This is a more a good compressor on clean vocals and instruments. Very a full song with all sorts of instruments and sounds in it. This doesn't really work so well. It's not the fastest compressor out there. But we're going to just have a listen to the Teletronics LA2A by Universal Audio. So first I'm going to play the sample without any compression. Well, any compression. These samples come from Cymatics. They're also always a little bit compressed, a little bit, how do you call that? They always have a little bit of processing going on. You can listen to that clearly. But there you go. This is Cymatic's warning vocal loop. Okay, so that's the vocal loop. For all big disclaimer over here, I have here on the master, I have here the extressor standing in upfront vocals and doing some limiting. So I just play it. It's just to level everything a little bit out, and for you not to get blown out of your seat, I've decided to put this one on top of it, because there can be some heavy variations between the compressors we are using in terms of gain. So for you not to be blown out of your chair, we have placed the extressor Nook over here just to level everything a little bit and to limit a little bit. By the way, auto gain this would be fantastic. But there you go. So that's just for your information over there. Okay, now we're going to play the same sample, and in the middle I'm going to engage the LA2A. Engaged. building vocal. I'm just gonna go here through some background vocals. Ballad vocal. Breathy vocal. Colorful spaces. Female vox. Male voice. Male vox. Pop vocal. Present female voice. R&B vocal. Rap vocal. Rock vocal. Vocal ad-lib. And then we're gonna go back to the main one. Female voice. Okay, so there you go. So this is, for example, a very good compressor on vocals and on clean instruments. And then what I mean, clean instrument like a guitar or something, without then anything else that you place this compressor on. It's very, very, very good for that. Of course, has a limiting function also, but that you can listen. It doesn't make much difference because limiters are compressors. So there you go. A limiter is a compressor, is a type of a compressor. So there you go. There's clippers are different things. A limiter and a compressor, when it hits a certain threshold, it will push the music down. That's why it even sounds compressed. And a clipper, for example, works very different. Clipping not in the sense of output level, but clipping in the sense that anything over a certain gain threshold will literally, the waveform will be cut off with a blade. So it just cuts off the higher peaks and leaves the sound under it. So that's why sometimes clippers you can introduce a little bit of anti-aliasing, I think it is, or a little bit of artifact sometimes in it, because it literally cuts the waveform off, so over a certain threshold. A compressor and a limiter pushes the music down, so there's the difference. So limiters and compressors are limiters and limiters are compressors. They're one and the same thing. So there you go. This was the Universal Audio LA2A tube compressor, which is an analog compressor. The last compressor in the chain, number 7, is also a tube compressor by Warmpy. That's a free version also, but that's a little bit of a more of a saturation, because it's how do you call it, an analog modeling, so analog, how do you call it, emulation of tube compressor. So that one has more articulation on saturation and warm harmonic distortion, what you get from a tube circuit. So, but there you go. This was LA2A tube compressor, very much used in vocals. Really classic compressor. Same compressor also that can do the same kind of things. We're going to find them even in another compressor here in parallel chain. Is the 1176. Very good also on vocals and on guitars and on instruments. Not so great on percussion. Well, that depends on how you use it. If you put it in 4-button mode, you put all the buttons in with the 4 times the ratio, then you can But that we have another an 1176 compressor in the chain over here that I will show you in a moment. That is the Smasher by Pulsar. That is all button in 1176 British style. Good for drums and percussion and kicks and things like that. So there you go. We'll go to number two. And number two is Firepresser. Firepresser is the same as the Extressor. It's four compressors in one. You can see that over here. We have Stress Varimu 1176 and a DB160. How this works over here is you have, of course, presets. But how this works is... this is a parallel chain of four compressors in one. You can change the position of each compressor to create different sound effects, different compression effects. And here with the X and the Y screen over here, you can point more to one direction or to another. So green Varimu, the Extressor, the Stress is red, DB160 is blue, and 1176 is yellow. And you can push with your sound more in the direction of one compressor over another, so to give more articulation, to let one compressor more shine out and then the other ones fall sort of more in the back of the chain. So there you go. Bunch of buttons over here. Very easy compressor to use, and this is basically like the Extressor. You can do the same with. It's also a couple of compressors in one, but that one is with many dial buttons. This one is a little bit easier to use. So change the position of the compressors. You wanna and then start with your axis in the middle and start seeing where the most reduction is being done here on the VU meters. And then point more to one direction if you like the sound more of one compressor, or point to another one and try out like that. Turbo button saturation, link attack release, and high pass low pass filter over here. So there you go. Let's have a listen to the Firepresser. Sorry about that. That's the wrong sample. In this moment it's off. Some presets to get an idea of the sounds you can get with this. So there we went all around. I just went through all the presets to you for you to have an idea of what this compressor can do. It's a fire compressor. It's 4 compressors in one. There's some sort of a story going on the internet. I think it's more clickbait, but people saying that your compressors ruin your music and you shouldn't use compressors in parallel. Well, I'm telling you the contrary. You should really use compressors in parallel because you get extremely good results with it. The extressor and the fire pressor here are 4 compressors in parallel. So you can play around with it yourself with some free compressors. And then just download the Waves Audio's Studio Rack is a free plugin that you can use to create yourself parallel chains with third-party VST plugins. So your own plugins you can just put there in a parallel chain and change the position and the configuration of where each compressor finds itself in the parallel chains and change like that the sound, because this really matters. You see me here throwing the position of the compressors in a different category and then also to which one you point to moist to give more that the very is more the dominating one, but still the other ones that are placed in the back are still also compressing, and each have a different. They all have different ways of compressing. Some are fat compressors, some are optical compressors, some are tube compressors. Each compressor has a particularly sound characteristics and parallel chain. They really work well together. So don't be afraid to use compressors, and even EECs you can also just put in parallel. That's no issue whatsoever. That many times I do it actually to have some more control also. I put on a sample on an audio track. I put an EEC, and then on my mix bus where I'm mixing all the vocals together or all the drums together, I put another EEC, and then on the master I put another EEC. Many times different EECs with different sound characteristics, and also is because. You have also then the advantage of being able to manipulate only the EEC on the actual sample or audio track, and then you can manipulate the EEC over all the audio tracks together in the submix, and then you can also alter the sound characteristics of your master in the end. So even in your end master and your mix, you have more control. You can do the individual sample. You can do a mix bus with several samples at once, and then you can do the master to do all the tracks, all your audio tracks, all your samples at once. So the final mix alter the sound characteristics. So there you go. We're gonna go to the next one. Number 3 is unfiltered audio. It's one of my favorite compressors. It's a creative compressor. This with full modulation, so you can add. Sequences here, LFOs, square waves, step sequencer, whatever you want. You can automate everything here with LFOs, so you can give movement in your music without. So it's different than your normal automation on your tracks in your DAW, where you can literally every setting you can automate and how do you call that? Create a movement in your music. So there you go. A very, very, very nice compressor. We're going to just put it here in standard parallel mode. We're going to start with that, and we'll go through some presets. So first sample without any compression. Compressor enabled. Just rolling you through some presets. It's kind of wicked, actually. Sounds very psychedelic trance, kind of. Yeah. Parallel squish. Sidechain control filter doesn't work because I don't have sidechain enabled. Expansion. Okay, so there you go. Unfiltered audio, as you can listen, is a very creative compressor, and you can get all sorts of sounds out of this. And this thing is by itself also, let's face it, a little bit of an effects plugin in the sense that you can create here sounds with it that you can also do with an equalizer and some filters and stuff. So it's a very, very interesting compressor. This, as you can listen, you can do really, really crazy things with sounds. And as you can see, that compression is a very, how do you call that? It's a thing that has a lot to do with your taste of music. So when you do compression, mastering is a thing of taste, you know. So some people like more a particular sound of a compressor, and other people like other sounds of a compressor. And in combination with an EQ, some people like certain EQ settings, and other people like other EQ settings. And how do you call that? Mastering and compression and equalization is also very much a thing of a person's taste, you know. And sometimes people understand it a little bit wrong, you know. They say, I don't like very much this master, you know. And then is it wrong done? Is it wrong mastered? No, it's not wrong mastered at all. It's just the mastering engineer have put a particularly sound in it that he likes, of compressors and of EQs, you know, and saturation and stuff like that, you know. But that's not particularly what you like in sound, you know. But it doesn't mean that it's bad mastered, you know. I sometimes listen also to these people on videos that it needs to be really mastered like this, it needs to really sound like this, and use a reference track, you know. But that's all a question of what you like, you know. Mastering is very, very much in the ear of the beholder. Let me say it like that. So there you go, you know. And then this kind of compressor like Zip of unfiltered audio over here is a very creative compressor to really, really give a different sound in your compression and in your master. This one is very good for mastering also. Also with the LFOs, you can put all sorts of movement in the compressor by connecting LFOs here to certain the attack, the release, the color, the knee, the ratio, the threshold, the filter, the mix, and you know, change also the parameters over here to make your compressor sound completely the way that you would like it to sound. You know, as you can see here, he starts now automating things over here. So now he can do the threshold, and he starts here now even automating the threshold, and then let's automate the ratio also. Now he's automating the ratio. And you can, like that, go completely crazy with this compressor and change this from a sine wave to a square wave, and go completely mental with this. Put some color on it, maybe throw the mix on another separate bus, and you can change here also the speed of the LFOs, and you can even here connect the amp and the frequency to another oscillator. Sorry, it needs to be this oscillator over here, this LFO. And you can go completely mental here with this compressor, as you can see over here. If we then now still throw a there's already a sequencer in here, so we got this over here. I can create some crazy stuff over here. Sine wave, input follower. Now let's put this input follower, maybe like this, and I do something so really stupid over here. Sine wave. Let's change this to a step sequencer. Now let's listen what happens now. So this is what we have created now. So there you go. It's a very cool creative compressor. As you can see, you can go completely mental with this. I throw a bypass still on top of it over here, and you can get really, really crazy results with this compressor. So, but there you go. That was unfiltered audio. One of my favorite compressors. This absolutely brilliant, and also a good example that you can see that compressor that can really change your sound in a spectacular way. So there you go. The next one, number 4, we have over here. We have the Pulsar Smasher. Now the Pulsar Smasher is an 1176. A compressor, a fat compressor, but it's all button in, which that means it's British mode. So it's an 1176 that has 4 buttons. Normally you can only push one button at a time, and then the other one disengages. But the British found out if you push all 4 buttons at the same time, they will all stay engaged, and you would have 4 times the ratio. And that sounded really brutal on certain drum sets and certain percussion and even in electronic dance music and stuff. So that's what this thing imitates. It's, by the way, also a paid plugin. I think it's like $60 or something. This plugin, but it's 1176, all button in, so British mode. Let's have a listen to this compressor without, to the sample without compression, and then with. Engaged. We have 8 times oversampling. Parallel squares, -6 dB. Thickens everything up to 50%. Dry wet. Disabled. Enabled. So there you go. That's the Pulsar Smasher. This is, for example, not a great compressor for vocals like this. A normal 1176 actually is, but this not. This is a nicer compressor for percussion and drums and even a synth and stuff. It works pretty well on this. So more rhythmic stuff. But as you could listen, it's still actually pretty nice on vocals, because what it does actually, it's takes a little bit of the high peaks and the dynamics out of the track, and sounds a little bit more flat, like a flat eek, but sounds a little bit more flat, but easier to fix in a mix. So sometimes I use the Pulsar Smasher literally to just smash something that's very dynamic, very exciting piece of music that's just too bright in the mix or something. I just throw a Pulsar Smasher on it, and then it really levels it out. As you can listen over here. Let me again disengage. Listen without. So there you go. That's the Pulsar Smasher. Good compressor. I use this thing many times. What I'm saying, to just throw on something that's a little bit too bright or too upfront. Then I throw this one on top of it, and sometimes even just use it just to level a little bit of things. So sort of more like a leveling amplifier, like an LA2A. But there you go. The Pulsar Smasher, by the way, also paid a plug in this, but you can achieve yourself by the analog obsession versions that are out there, the 1176, and then you can set them up like that. You can even put four in parallel, each with their own ratio, and you have exactly the same kind of thing, because that's actually what happens. So there you go. The next one is number 5 is TRD Molotov. Now this is a compressor, you will listen, that's a color, it gives a little bit of color to the sound, and that's about it. Let me listen first without. Enabled. Preset. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. Disengage. Engage. So there you go. That's TRD TDR Molotov by Tokyo Dome Labs. This is a free compressor. Colors the sound a little bit. Very nice warm sound. Smoothens everything out a little bit, and it's a fantastic compressor on the right track. So I love this compressor. One of the best free compressors out there. So TDR Molotov by Tokyo Dome Labs. Nice compressor. Colors the sound a little bit, but I like it. And on the right track, this is a fantastic compressor, including on percussion. This works really well on compression. Very nice, but colors a little bit your sound. Changes a little bit your sound. TDR Molotov by Tokyo Dome Labs. Then the next one we have, number 6. Is Frontier. Well, Frontier is a self-adapting limiter, but a limiter is a compressor, as we just spoke about before. This is a very nice free also. It's a self-adapting limiter, but it's a compressor also. You can use it as a compressor. Sounds really well. Let's have a listen to the sample without Yeah, we need to make. I made a mistake over here. We have to go again back to Tokyo Dawn, to Molotov by Tokyo Dawn Labs. Unfortunately, because I made a mistake over there, I had the channel soloed. Unfortunately, so let's have again a listen. This is TDR Molotov. Sorry about that. It was the wrong sample I just played over there. I have a bunch of repeated samples. This is Molotov enabled. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. Change preset. So there you go. That was a TDR Molotov, by the way. Sorry about that. I'm here with some headphones on in this moment because I don't want to have the music bleed in, and I have the headphones very low for not destroying my ears. And I wasn't listening to the other thing before. I had it unfortunately on the wrong track over here. So we were listening to another track, but. The compressor seemed like it was working because there was music on the other track, but I wasn't having it on the right solo configuration over here. So there you go. We're going to go now, sorry, back to Frontier. Oh, well, let's put them also right here in the right one. There we go. Frontier, what I just mentioned before, it's a limiter, self-adapting limiter. This one was, by the way, also free, but it also works as a compressor. So let's have a listen. We enable it. Change preset. That's bypass. Auto smasher. Atom smasher. Now, listen, computer a little bit struggling. A little bit glitches in the audio. Brick wall clipping. So you have a gain reduction, so it is a compressor, you know. Default smasher. Oh, sorry. Destroy class. Master licking. Medium with leaks. Pole position. Mastering, secure exit, silent and deadly, and that's it. There were all the settings. So it is a limiter. Sorry about it. It is a limiter, but it's a compressor. This has a fast, medium, slow, then left, left and right, and then mid-side. Fast, medium, slow, a threshold. Very accurate output meter over here. You can really actually trust it. This is really accurate. Several times I've verified it to other meters that I have. Good meters of Span and of BX Plug-in Alliance's BX meter, which is very accurate. A very accurate meter this. A clip detector over here, soft clip on off, and then an LED for clip detection, of course output level over here, and a couple of presets. Free also front shader self-adapting limiter that you can also, it is like a compressor also, you can use it as a compressor, so there you go. Last one in the row, number 7, is Warmpy. Warmpy is a tube compressor that for doing tube saturation and a little bit harmonic distortion, what the analog vacuum tubes use it to do. This is of course emulation, but it comes really close. This is an excellent compressor. This so let's have a listen to the sample without track 7. Let me see if we're now in the right one. No, we're not. Okay, this is without compression. With compression. Default preset. Cut through voice. We put a little bit of oversampling. 8 times. Makes a big difference. Clean guitar beef. Another preset warm bass. Voice cleanup or Vox cleanup. Compression, silky clean guitars, scoop kick drum, there's no kick drum in here, so rock kick, mix machine, mix bus finalizer. Bass. The setting I like very much, by the way, this setting. If you start with this and you start altering this a little bit. A lot of accent on the midfield, and that's very interesting, especially because vocal and in music, most of it lives in the mids, you know. It's very nice to start from here and then alter the settings, create your own sound. It's mid-heavy bass, one I like very much. MIDI snare. Nice for snare drums. Low end fixer. Well, you can listen really, this emulation of tube sounds much more warm and saturated. You can really create with this analog sound, what I really like. Long snare. Huge rock guitars. Female vocals. Magic. Distorted bass cleanup. And the default again. So there you go, that was Warmpy by Key-Hive Audio. Also a free plugin, it's Warmpy EP1A. So that's Echo Papa 1 Alpha, Warmpy EP1A by Key-Hive Audio. I always read this as Key-Live Audio. I don't know why, because it's Key-Hive Audio. Must be like from New Zealand or something. Key-Hive Audio. I don't know. I'm just here inventing something. But there you go, a bunch of different compressors on a bunch of vocals which are already a little bit compressed, a little bit processed from Semantic, so they're always a little bit, but I have to use these samples because we need to use something that's royalty free, that we don't get how do you call that, strikes on my YouTube channel for using copyrighted music. That's why I'm using the Semantic samples over there. They're a little bit compressed, but they're good enough to let you listen the difference between between several compressors on vocals. So that was it. The next time we're going to try some compressors on percussion, and after that we're going to do a video about sidechaining and how you can use sidechaining both in compressors and in dynamic equalizers to use sidechaining in your advantage in your mix and to create movement and interesting things in your mix, and how you can also actually surgically sometimes remove things by using sidechain in equalizers and compressors to sidechain it to a track and then limit or cut a frequency or compress somewhere in a track to use it to actually surgically eliminate certain things out of your music that you don't want there, or that you want to compress in that moment, or you want to boost the equalization a little bit in that moment. So, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Until the next time, stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.